Salutations, sports fans. Welcome back to a whole new episode of the LPG podcast, where we give you the lowdown for laying the smackdown. This is your host and Commissioner Supreme, Guido, and I'm joined here today by some exalted LPG panelists. We have Dr. Statistic here, we have the Bubble Top, and we have the Shankerman. No time for niceties, guys. Let's just say hello and jump right into the thick of things.
Hey guys.
Alright, so generally as fans, we tend to support all the big clubs, right? The top four. And, lately we've also met a couple of Manchester City fans and Tottenham fans as well. But that's as far as we go, right? Our clubs, we associate more with the success, challenging for silverware, And the disappointment of not somehow getting any accolades that year is the most we can actually deal with in terms of disappointment. But what about the entire level of competition that's happening at the other end of the table, right? That's not something we can associate ourselves with, right? And, but, however, we have one of the 55 people here who have experienced this year in and year out. We have a West Ham fan here. It's basically like a Planet Earth episode, right? You're fighting for survival, right? In that vein of things, let's talk about the other clubs who are in the dogged fight for relegation. Let's start off from the bottom of the Premier League table. The team that is on the cusp of championship football, really. West Brom, right?
Yeah.
Right? They're basically, everybody's got them destined for relegation. Is that what everybody thinks?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yes.
They're already
Okay.
7 or 8 points off the...
But, okay, so there's just one thing I did read up on, alright? West Brom, okay, are one of the first clubs to have gone through that great escape thing, right? So the great escape is generally a team that has finished bottom in the Christmas and have somehow managed to...
Did it happen 2005 or 6 or
2004 and 2005, that's the season, the same invincible season, okay? So, first team to have done that, and the other teams to have done that also are Sunderland and Leicester, alright? In 13, 14 and, the following year.
Yeah.
Okay, but one thing about West Brom that is like an obvious achievement is they were at the bottom of the table till the final day of the season.
From the beginning?
From Christmas.
Okay.
When Christmas, they had finished and that was supposed to be the great escape. In the final day of the season as well, they were at the bottom of the table. And they somehow managed. So it was clearly one of the greatest escapes ever, right? They somehow managed to secure safety till the final day of the table. Could still happen.
Yeah.
Which season
Could
was
still
this?
happen. 04-05. Under Brian Robson.
Mathematically, yeah, but not under party.
Not under party. I mean, you can see with things are really falling apart. Another thing that I wanted to point out with West Brom is the Chinese investment, right? You had Chinese investors coming and investing in Cardiff City, Birmingham City, Aston Villa, when they were all Premiership teams, and they all went down. They all went down. Now it's West Brom, right?
Coincidence. Not coincidence.
It's just mismanagement, I feel, right? They have ambition set at a different level. And I just think they've also fallen victim to this. I mean, this was a stable Premiership table side, right? They were finishing 10th and 11th and so forth.
But I think they shouldn't have sacked Pulis in the first place.
But there was a lot of complaint from the fans as well. The fans also
Fans still always be there. Wenger would have gone out by now.
Okay.
Pellegrino and Southampton.
It's a case of be careful what you wish for.
Correct. But especially in terms of West Brom, against at least when it comes to Arsenal, obviously you can look at other bigger managers. But when it comes to West Brom, Pulis has done he's famous for getting people.
So again, when you talk about history, right? Like West Ham, another thing about West Ham's history is the good football that they play. So West Brom was also one of those teams that associate themselves with good football in terms of history. So they want to move forward that way. Anyhow, that's enough said about West Ham. I mean, obviously Prem did not even want to add anything to this conversation because he thinks they're down and out.
No, this pod I'm going to talk only statistics. So I'm going to stick to my moniker
Dr. Statistics sticking to the things he knows best.
Yes. So
alright, fair enough.
We'll come into it. But I do think Alan Pardew was a bad signing.
Yeah.
It's fine sacking Pulis.
Especially since the profile are different. That is the main thing.
Yes, exactly.
So when someone's been used to defending all the time, you can't just bring in Pardew and expect the players to immediately adapt.
Yes.
That is not going to happen.
That was funny. I mean, Pardew comes in, first game he throws Hal Robson-Kanu, Rondon and Jay Rodriguez. let's go with the 3 attacking line. It doesn't work out anyhow. That's West Brom for you. All the best.
No, but do you guys really think?
Hope you guys
this
bounce
is a bad
back.
team?
No? Of course not. Of course not. It's not a bad team.
Because
They've
last
got good
year, when
players.
you see the teams which went down, you knew that okay, these teams are not good enough.
Correct.
They're definitely a surprise.
You have exactly. You have players of Champions League pedigree there. In Krychowiak, in Johnny Evans.
Krychowiak was actually supposed
to. So that's West Brom at 20th, destined. Also sitting perilously down at the bottom is Stoke on 19th. Yeah. Another club
managed by Pulis.
The
curse of the Pulis.
Yeah.
Curse of Pulis.
Yeah.
I think all 3 teams, if you take even Crystal Palace for that matter, all 3 teams managed by Pulis. Some curse or whatever you call it, they're all on a downward path only. They're all either close to getting relegation or getting relegated, or West Brom is going to be a start. I think next year you might as well see Stoke or Crystal Palace getting relegated. So I won't be surprised. Yeah.
All 3 Pulis clubs are going to go down when he's going to come up with.
Oh, that's a big shout out, man. You really
all
putting
3
your neck on the line.
All 3 won't go this year. I'm saying
Eventually.
West Brom is definitely going to go, and I'm personally backing Stoke also to go down. 2 out of 3. I think.
So 2 clubs managed by Pulis are going to go down,
and
while
Pulis is going to come
up.
up. Correct.
You're blaming the fact that they've fired Pulis, or because of Pulis' it's his influence or what?
No, I'm just telling it can't be coincidence. I'm saying you just can't replace a defensive.
It's like how you take the Chinese investment as well into play here. Some things are not coincidences, right?
I think this is where I'd like to point out one main difference between English clubs and European clubs.
Yeah.
European clubs follow this model where they have a director of football.
Okay.
In EPL, the club most closely following that is Chelsea.
Correct.
Where you see a committee which sees over the transfers,
Correct.
and the manager is sort of a merry-go-round. He comes and goes. And they keep hiring managers, them, but they do well. They've gotten success.
Correct.
Whoever they bring.
Correct.
Roberto Di Matteo, Abraham Graham.
Abramovich is managed.
Whereas the problem with EPL clubs is all the power is given to the manager. So Tony Pulis comes in, buys a set of players who can do a certain job, and then he comes out, the next guy comes in, say Alan Pardew, can't do the same thing with the same.
No, let's just stick to what has happened with Stoke.
With Stoke also.
We had defensive players come in, right? The likes of Kenvin Jones and whatnot for Tony Pulis, right? And then you had like a completely different pedigree of players come in for when Mark Hughes was in command there.
Shaqiri.
Yeah, you had Shaqiri, you had Arnautovic, you had Jesse Rodriguez, who did not click. I mean, these guys are also people that you thought would really click, right?
No,
they have the credentials.
I'm going to say I disagree with you. I think they did click. Stokes' attacking has been extremely good.
Okay.
If you look at them in relation to the other relegation candidates, they're actually ranking at 5 of the 11 clubs, starting from Bournemouth to West Brom.
Okay.
It's their defense which has let them down.
That's very surprising because this year they actually strengthened their defense. They got Martin Zindi, they got Kevin Wimmer, and they got Kurt Zuma.
But one more
I'm
thing I'd like
curious.
to add.
He said they're 5th. In what terms are you saying they're 5th?
So basically, if you look at the table, I think you can put up the table now.
Okay.
Where you look at shots per 90 and shots on target and the key passes and everything. In all those things, they rank around 5.
Oh, that's
okay. So in those numbers.
But they're
So
over-reliant on
football.
Shaqiri. That's what I read. About 42% or something
Absolutely.
is absolutely coming only from Shaqiri.
Okay.
So you can't obviously scrape through like that. You need other people pitching in.
But that doesn't matter. See, in relation to the other teams, you have no one like that at West Brom. You have at least a Shaqiri at Stoke keeping them up.
Correct.
But there's no one at West Brom.
Last year there was Matty Phillips. He did pretty decently.
Yeah.
This
See,
year,
football is a team game, but you always have 1 or 2 guys who take them up.
I thought Rondon would.
So they might get relegated and it'll mainly be because of their defense.
So you think that they're picked for relegation
Yes,
as well?
I think
I
they're
do
picked
as
for-
well.
I do as well, but mainly because Lambert's inability to. I mean, you saw the last game, no? He brought in Charlie Adam. He brought back Glenn Johnson. Despite Moritz Boyer playing the way he did last 7-8 games, he's been one of the best performers.
They are not my favorites for relegation, but they are the 4th candidate for relegation. Very close statistically.
Okay.
They are at risk, I'd say.
Fair enough. So let's talk about the team sitting now in 18th.
Okay.
Right? We have Southampton, a team we would not expect to be in that position, right? Because they've been generally, their philosophy is something I admire, right? They've been churning out talent that is being poached by bigger clubs to great success.
So, Southampton is definitely a big surprise for them to be here. We've known them as one of the most stable clubs. But their stats are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
apart from the top 6 clubs,
Okay.
which you know, the 7th club for chance creation is Southampton.
Yeah.
7th.
At
That
35 chances, big chances created.
I don't know the numbers.
I kind of remembered while looking
Okay.
through this thing. 35 big chances created.
So, I think they're going to be safe. The stats say they're going to be safe.
It's another thing that I want to bring up when you look at the stats, right? The number of times they hit the woodwork
Okay.
is 14 times.
Is that the most?
The most is 16 by
Liverpool, I think.
by Liverpool and City. 14 is Arsenal and Southampton. So if you look at 14 times, let's just say the average, if you look at the bottom of the table, right? The average times, the number of times the clubs are hitting the woodwork is about 7 or 8, right? So that's 6 more goals you add into the mix. So that could have at least earned them 3 or 4 more points.
Did you
right?
say big chances?
Big chances, yes.
That's 36 for Southampton.
I said 35?
No, they're 17th.
So they
What?
are not.
They're not as high as you think. Big chances is only
That's pretty low.
They are
17.
So 35 chances which Vito suggested is actually 17th
But
in the
you're-
Premier League, you're saying.
But you're the one who said
16%.
it was good.
Chance creation. We're
Okay.
talking about big chances.
Okay.
Big
There's
chance
big
is different from chance creation.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, I did read up about this little thing about Pellegrino, right? And why they persisted so long with Pellegrino. I mean, we have to discuss.
Yeah.
So there's also another trend that is obvious at play here, right? Pulis leaves West Brom, leaves Stoke, goes to West Brom, tries his hand there. Then you have Mark Hughes leaving Stoke, going to Southampton now. He had his first victory against
Cup.
Wigan, in the FA Cup. But there's a trend there. Like these guys keep trying to persist and getting the same kind of managers. These experienced English specialists, whatever it is.
The old boys
They
club.
had the experience though. To be able to steer clubs like these out of.
But how many times?
Or like Prem brought it up in one of the earlier podcasts, the bounce effect actually does not exist. No,
Yeah.
it's just regression to the mean, like he pointed out. So it could just be
So-
psychological. This thing that they aim for, nothing else.
Yeah,
correct.
Maybe Mark Hughes is just there. So overall, people think, okay, new manager, let's prove ourselves more. Players will fight harder. Players who are out of favor can come back into.
Correct. No. I
So do
do
any of
think-
us think Southampton are
No.
at risk? No.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think they also plus the.
So I was talking about Pellegrino, right?
Yeah.
So another thing about Pellegrino is the amount of times they got into the final third, right? Is second only to Manchester City.
What's good?
Right?
Oh, I read a stat. I read some similar stat where Tadic had more chances than David Silva at one point. 2 games back.
Chances created.
More chances created.
Ah,
He created almost. Now I think he's.
But
lesser
their
than Silva.
conversion from the final third
It's
is
just
poor.
poor.
It's really poor. So exactly, you get like I said, 14 times they could have hit the woodwork. That's 6 more goals that they could have converted. Earning them at least 3 or 4 more points. We wouldn't be discussing them so soon in the podcast.
Anyway, they're safe. Let's move.
Fair enough, they're safe.
They're safe because you say they're safe.
Yeah.
Statistics.
Everyone said they're safe.
Yeah.
No, let's just discuss elements of it.
No,
though.
so just a minute before we move on to the next one, I have an algorithm too from my thing also, which is different from his set
Competition
of
for
stats.
statistics.
No, it's not direct competition. It's a different thing.
Bring
has
it
a
on.
bit of my- But yeah, by that algorithm, we should also I took into account the fixtures that they have to play also.
Of course.
Yeah. So Southampton have of the bottom 5, they have the best. So they
Speaking
are
of fixtures, they have to play. West Ham.
yeah.
How confident are you
They are the
feeling?
worst fixtures in my opinion.
No, they're not
Yeah,
the worst.
Them and
no.
Southampton.
According to
Equally
my
bad.
algorithm, they have the worst fixtures. Unfortunately, I was trying so hard when I was coming up with this algorithm to come up with
Algorithm.
ways-
You know how many times you put that in there? It's just basically looking at fixtures.
Just to make it sound cool, Moneyball tactics everyone does.
There is a way. But then, they have those. I was trying my best to make sure that West Ham somehow get out of the relegation thing. I have found a way, but then according to fixtures, no. They have the worst fixtures of all of the relegation candidates.
So you got
Prem's totally judging you right now.
No, I don't. I totally disagree because according to my algorithm, they have the second best fixtures of the relegation candidates.
No, but let's talk about
who they're going to
West
face.
Ham.
Look at who they're going to face. We're facing 4 of the big teams.
Yeah,
all
I-
the big teams. We're facing United.
in 2 weeks you're
facing
facing Chelsea,
Yeah.
right? And 2 weeks after that you're facing
Arsenal
both
and-
United, Arsenal and City. So that week is going to be dreadful.
In a row, that too.
Right? So that can be demoralizing for like some of the best teams.
Yeah, one thing going for West Ham though is the fact that they have a game in hand. For me, I kept seeing the game in hand. That is one of the basic things you can give.
The game in hand is against Arsenal or United.
You decide. No, you can decide however you want the game in hand.
It's facing Arsenal.
Basically, one extra game.
Okay, another thing that to be thrown over here, right, is the form that they're coming into all these games. Correct. The form that they've been having, right? So you've lost 4-1 to Brighton, 3-1 to Brighton, 4-1 to Liverpool, and which, considering Liverpool's form, you can't really...
Not that surprising.
Yeah, not that surprising. But then the next week, you lose 4-1 to Swansea, and then at home, you lose 3-0 to Burnley. Right? You guys should change your nickname from Hammers to Hammered. I mean, seriously, it's been horrible.
So, actually, I'll have some good news for Mike here. Based on my stats and what you said, their defense is extremely bad. Their defense ranks as the worst after Stoke.
Okay.
But I think their attack is really good.
Yeah.
Arnautovic in particular has been really good for them.
Yeah, Moyes has brought out the best, I think, from Arnautovic.
And I think that's going to be enough to keep them safe.
He's working out well as a false nine also.
So they have the most goals scored of all the bottom.
So you think in these 4 games that they're going to face, they might have a good result there?
I think they will have a good result.
You think that good result is going to be against us?
I hope that we have a good result.
Absolutely.
He thinks the good result is going to be against Arsenal.
Arsenal in my algorithm is the one where I was like...
Please, let's not call it algorithm anymore. But anyhow, moving on.
Does anyone else think they're going to be relegated?
No.
Not going to say that.
Okay.
No,
I'm going to jinx.
I'd rather you be there on the podcast a little more. No? We'd rather.
So fine.
I like your company, Bubble Top. We can't be talking about championship clubs now, can we?
So West Ham are safe.
West Ham are safe.
Okay. Next.
It's time to put your money where your mouth is. It's time to get fierce. Check out playgaffer.com now.
Alright, so next up we have Crystal Palace, another team from London. And another experienced English specialist in Roy Hodgson.
Okay, before talking about Crystal Palace, factor in the fact that Zaha is injured again as of today.
Okay.
He got back to London from Ivory Coast. So, you've got to again factor that.
You're saying he's coming back from injury?
No, he's back injured
again.
He was supposed to come back soon.
No, he was back. He played the last
2 games, yo.
He played the last game.
Gone again. But then that is it's not a serious one.
It's not serious, but then who knows if it's
his return date has been put as the end of this month.
Wait. Now you're talking about a club, right? Who are in the doldrums right now,
correct?
Right, trying to secure safety,
correct.
And if they send out Zaha and lose him out to an injury in the international team,
you're saying they're wrapping him in cotton wool and all that.
Yeah,
it could be that. But I'm just saying, what if it is chronic? They said it was the same injury by recurring and all that. And also the stat that they have, they played 9 games without Zaha this year, and they've managed to get 0 points. They've not got a single point without
I'm talking about the games that they faced, right, without Zaha. They faced Tottenham, they faced Chelsea, they faced United, and all these games they were competitive. They
agreed.
Yeah, they lost.
You take fixtures into consideration.
Yes.
But 6 other games where you got 0 points. You can't get 1 point without Zaha. Getting 0 points out of 9 games is too bad.
Wait, I'll tell you what the results were. Yeah, they lost.
I agree, correlation doesn't imply causation and all that shit, but
no, and whatever you talk about the old owl or whatever he seems like, he seems to be one of those England managers that is working out.
According to the stats, Crystal Palace are number 1 for shots per 90, shots in box per 90.
Yeah, they're definitely safe for me also.
I think this is definitely safe. No need to speak anymore.
They have good run of fixtures also coming up.
Yeah.
So
they face only one of the top 6 in their next 6 fixtures.
They have the best fixtures of all the divisions.
Okay, cool.
But they do have 9 injuries.
I'm like, are we going to talk about anybody? Are we going to talk about anybody?
It's like Shanky said, they have the worst injuries. They have 9 injuries.
Who have you got picked for relegation?
No, but they are playing exciting football. They managed to create a lot of chances. Townsend and Benteke.
But like I said, the team is fighting.
Yeah.
For the manager,
they don't look like their team going down.
One more reason why I think they're safe is they performed the worst with regards to expected goals. Among all the 20 clubs, with regard to the site I follow, understat.com or whatever, they have 14 goals below par.
So they will catch up.
I feel, they will catch up. It will all add up at the end of the day. They'll regress to the mean. So 14 goals, because Bentek has been pretty wasteful. He's missed about 18 chances or something. Big chances. So I think they'll do okay for themselves. Yeah.
I don't think
Hudson
they're
will take care of it, yeah.
Of course.
Huddersfield.
Now Huddersfield, David Wagner, he was supposed to be mini Klopp, right? He was also supposed to bring this entire gegenpressing into the Premiership, just like how he had successes in the Championship with that sort of format. Now the personnel that he has in his disposal, the personnel that he has are not really up to the mark.
No, I think they are disposable. They're not good enough. So, according to my stats, they're going to be relegated.
According to me too.
I've got them
on 18th.
So that's pretty much it for me. I've got Huddersfield, Stoke, and West Brom.
I think we all agree with all of this.
So I think Wagner, the only popular thing he's done this year is the Christmas video.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice video actually. But unfortunately, nothing big.
Being rude though, he's done okay.
Fine, okay.
To be where he is right now, give him some credit, man.
Fair
He's
enough.
not even. He wasn't in the mix for a long time.
It's something fresh, right? Coming into the league.
They started off really well. Only come winter, they started dropping.
He doesn't have the personnel to do what he wants to do.
Actually, they've managed to be good at.
No, the signings have actually been good, man. Look at Munier, their big signings have been good.
Yeah, even in Christmas
they're not. It's not about the personnel per se.
No, but okay. Another thing that has been annoying for me about the way he approaches the game, right? He's got the most number of crosses in 642 crosses, and the point of accuracy has been 17%. So that's something that stood out for me. Why are you employing this kind of,
No.
You cannot
Can you repeat that stat?
So he's got 642 crosses over the course of the season that he's like pinned in, and the accuracy for the cross accuracy has only been 17%. 1-7, right? So he has employed this tactic. I mean, it's
Any
not
idea what the highest cross accuracy is for?
No. It's probably something.
Because I think cross accuracy is
No,
in that range or 20,
no, it's not.
25.
It's better than this. What I did was I want to like obviously look into it, and he's got the lowest cross accuracy and the numbers in terms of cross. So if you look at it, he's wasting a lot of position.
He's scared, no?
It's not going to do
with
with
Brighton.
No, it's
More than the wingers, you have to look at the strikers.
You have to look at the right
Huddersfield
backs.
winger?
No, you have to look at the left back and right back. It's Van La Para, Rajiv Van
The
La
wingers,
Para,
dude.
Rajiv Van La Para, and on
Aaron
the
Moy.
flank.
Moy
is not left back.
One more guy plays. Ince goes to the wing sometimes, obviously.
Did you guys know Rajiv Van La Para is Gioacchino Wijnaldum's cousin?
Yeah. I think you already told it to me some time back. Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, he's got Indian heritage.
Exactly.
No, but look at the strikers that they have. Are they the type of strikers you'd give?
No, exactly. So it's been a team effort. Whatever they've done to come this far, we've talked about Shaqiri building a team, keeping them afloat for some reason. Whereas over here, there is no one standout player. Even Mui, I mean, that's the one name that resonates with Huddersfield. But even him, it's been a team effort. There have been a lot of games that Mui has also missed out on. That we just obviously ignored. So the only two mainstays in that team have been Zanka, right, and Schindler. Their two centre backs have been immense, right?
Yeah, I think the stats back you up there. Their defense has been quite good. They rank 4.7.
They have the best interceptions and all. A lot of stats, I've seen them at the top of the list.
But clearances as well.
I think their attacking has really let them down.
Of course.
So they're going to be relegated this season.
Fair enough.
Also,
all feel so.
They have only 4 games, I think, to get a picture of whether they're going to stay or not. Because the last 2 games are going to be against City and Arsenal.
Okay.
And Chelsea also. They have a Chelsea game.
Yeah, most of the relegation-threatened clubs face 3 of the big.
No, but these are going to be at the last fag end. So you've got to finish your job before itself. When it comes to Huddersfield.
Okay. Talking about managers.
So Huddersfield, where in the list right now? Table? 15th? Huh?
15th.
Yeah.
Okay, so we spoke about David Wagner, not impressing. Now we're talking about a manager who did impress in Carlos Carvajal, Swansea.
I
right?
love that guy.
Yeah, we have, you can check out our earlier podcast where we have this North versus South thing. And Carvajal is the guy to lead the Southern teams to victory. But yeah, so what about the turnaround that he has done at Swansea, right?
Yeah.
2 years back, we had the same conversation about relegation. I had them picked for relegation back then itself because I told you.
I rubbed it in so many times.
Fair enough. But what I told you was they did not seem like, after they lost out on Ashley Williams, they did not seem like they had the defensive personnel to carry through an entire English Premier League season. Right? And then afterwards, I felt I was going to be vindicated this season because they did not even seem to have the offensive personnel to carry through an entire Premier League season. And then slowly he goes in there, he makes a unit out of them. He makes them defensively capable. Right?
Yeah. Mawson, I think, has been a decent this year. And Federico Fernandez also.
Yeah, Federico Fernandez was a flop.
No, but he's improved this year.
Yeah, prior to what has happened.
Carvalho has changed everything for the better.
Carvalho has changed everything for the better.
So
how do the stats back him up? Or
I am going to disagree with both of you.
Okay.
There's a small caveat that my stats of the whole season, I didn't look at exactly the turnaround.
We are talking only post Carvalho.
Yeah, but I still think their stats are bad enough. I think Swansea are dead sure for relegation.
Oh, so what? How many teams are you relegating? 5?
No, I have 3 teams for relegation.
Yeah.
Right. So my 3 are West Brom.
It wasn't Stoke. Stoke was going to be carried through.
So 19th Huddersfield. And
Huddersfield.
18th is Swansea.
Wow.
Oh, you're really putting your neck on the line with Swansea.
Yeah, I think Swansea. The next 4th one will be Stoke.
Swansea also have
the easiest fixtures actually.
No, Swansea also have
according to me the easiest.
My algorithm needs a lot of checking, I think.
We'll see. We'll see who's vindicated at the end of the thing. But I think Swansea are very, very, very safe.
At the end of the day, 3 of us have chosen the same bottom 3.
Yeah, but then I'm saying Swansea shouldn't even be in the discussion.
I'm looking at the fixtures as well of Swansea. So anyways, the graphic below will tell you what the fixtures are. So I'm looking at the fixtures as well. They've got tough games. The next tough game is against United away, Old Trafford. But afterwards, they've got winnable games. They've got relegation 6-pointers against West Brom, against Southampton. Right?
Bournemouth also.
And then you have Bournemouth and Stoke. These are games, and most of these are at home. These are games that they should be looking to win.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the fixtures, it's not so bad.
The easiest run of fixtures
so, I'm backing your algorithm here, bro.
Come on. But at least for Premier League's sake, I think, we've got the title decided already. We're 8 games to go, but we've got the title decided. We've got the top 4 decided once Tottenham-Chelsea clash takes place in a couple of weeks, I think. That'll also be decided pretty much, top 4. So at least there should be something, that should take you to the deadline, to the final day. There should be the final showdown.
This is
Swansea versus Stoke. So I think in a way it'll be nice to have a relegation battle going all the way down.
I think by that time Stoke would have been dead and buried, and Swansea would have been.
Never know.
At least I think so.
And there's 7 points.
Only 3 points separating those two. Stoke and Swansea, how many points?
No, there are 4 points.
4.
Yeah.
That's not too much.
But between Brighton, right? That's 30 who's sitting pretty at 34 points, and Stoke at 27. There's 7 points all the way from 12th to 19th, right? So they're still in the mix.
Every team is in the mix. That's why we're talking.
No, you don't think so?
I think Swansea are dead short for relegation.
Dead short for relegation. What about? Okay, so moving on from Swansea, let's talk about.
Let me just say, to Swansea, I want to add one thing.
I'm never going to rush Prem Kumar.
No, if at all they do manage to survive,
it's
going to be because of Lucas Fabianski. Because of all the goalkeepers in the
You do need to check out the earlier podcast.
Let me finish it.
Because of all the goalkeepers that are there, he's had the best save percentage. His save percentage is almost 70.6.
And said something about catches also.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Most number of catches.
We'll back him up.
Wrong.
Process
I'm a big
claims.
fan of Fabianski.
He's made 101 saves.
Which is, I think, second only to Butland now.
Butland. Yeah. The numbers are like the women in our life. You just don't know.
Right. So, alright. So, moving on from Swansea. Is there anything else anybody wants to throw in about Swansea?
No, safe for me.
Safe for you, safe for me as well. Safe for you as well.
Not even in the discussion.
Dr. Statistic really putting his numbers on the line. Like he puts his women on the line. Anyhow, so next up we have Newcastle. Alright. And so a thing that stood out for me in Newcastle was when you're looking at goal difference, right? All the way from Everton to West Brom, they all have negative goal difference. It's never been this bad, right?
Okay.
In prior seasons. Everton have a minus 13 goal difference. I don't know, West Brom has obviously got to have a lot more, right?
I think Everton this year also have come into the fray only because of Allardyce. Because till now, if you notice, they had attacking managers, so they always used to have a decent goal difference.
Okay.
So I think it's down
to Allardyce. But shouldn't they have a more positive goal difference when you have a defensive manager?
No, because he's fucking up. He's fucking up defensively.
He's just
He doesn't have the
basically
first
fucking
one.
up.
Yeah, because of Allardyce fucking up, not because of the profile of Allardyce.
So okay,
But
so when you take
scored
all
goals.
these things into consideration,
He scored goals.
Newcastle have the lowest negative goal difference at -10. So our man is a tactical genius, Rafa Benitez. He knows how to keep hold of those 1-0 victories, right?
Which is why, apart
So that is the difference. I feel that is the difference that is going to like steer you away from the relegation dogfight. Knowing when you have a lead and defending it. How will the stats back me up on this?
So the stats actually tell a slightly different picture.
Okay.
They say their defense is pretty bad. Their defense is on par with Swansea.
Okay.
But what they have been good at is preventing big chances. They have conceded very less big chances.
I think that's something what Burnley have also inculcated.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's worked out for them.
Burnley have been very clinical.
Yes.
And not just, I'm talking about inviting chances, but preventing big chances. It is some with the low block
Lot of
system
people
that
take
they have.
shots. Yeah.
They let people take shots.
Low percentage shots.
And obviously now he is improved on the goalkeeper as well, right? They brought in Dubravka. He seems a bit more solid,
Yeah.
right? So I feel the things are going to, it's going to be better for
Dubravka
them.
looks really solid, man.
The 40 goals conceded is not so bad when you look at all the other teams.
No, everyone has conceded way more.
Yeah.
50s.
So
Yeah, Newcastle are safe.
Newcastle
According
are safe.
to my stats too.
Benitez has to be given a lot of credit for
Better
that.
credit there because he does it. Obviously, a man like that needs to be backed up with a lot better players.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which has not been happening.
Mike
Mike
Ashley
Ashley has been horrible this
One,
season.
one of the poorest attacking options he's got there in Joselu and Perez. Come on. Those are not.
No, but Joselu actually has extremely good expected goals.
Yeah.
When you look at him, he gets into very good positions. But I think
So
his
he's
finishing...
performing, he's exceeding expectations right now?
No. He's
But he doesn't
underperforming.
start.
He's
Also, he doesn't
underperforming.
start
He's
from the
underperforming.
games with them. He's more like a secondary option who comes in now.
Yeah.
Later
Because
on.
when you say, okay.
Like what Giroud was for you guys. Probably.
His expected goals is high, but his goal output is low.
Which is exactly what he's saying.
So, but however, so you think there's going to be some sort of parity? You think he's an FPL prospect?
Yeah, that's why I got him into my FPL team.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And that's why you are where you are.
Alright, so next up, after Newcastle, we have Brighton and Albion. Chris Hughton has really impressed me. Right?
Especially with the signings, I must say.
At the beginning
Killer
of the
signings.
season,
Killer signings.
I had them pipped for relegation. I never really thought, because he just seems like such a nice, docile guy who can't get his team going, right? I mean, he just doesn't come off as someone who can inspire the troops.
In a way, I'd liken them to Crystal Palace because of the similar. They play similar football. I feel they both play really exciting football among the lower teams.
Okay.
So they're very good to watch, man. Among the relegated team. Otherwise, it's just boring. Brighton, whenever they play, I don't mind watching. Watching Izquierdo take on defenders.
Pascal Gross has been a
chances
sensation.
created. And Glenn Murray, obviously. They have a really formidable.
Pascal Gross, what a find.
What a find.
Crazy in Bundesliga. Ingolstadt.
In Bundesliga before this, but he was not hidden gem or something. He was there for the taking. Someone had to sign him.
No, but
2 years in a row, he got maximum assists or something. Chances created.
One of the best crosses in the league.
one of the best crosses in the league. But if you take Premier League into this thing, right, into consideration here, Pascal Gross seems like a bit of a slower player, right? So you did not feel that he'd be able to come and do the same here in the Premier League. But he is more tactically and technically inclined.
Correct.
The number of times he gets to the byline and beats a defender is insane. I mean, throwing a cross in, you'd have to beat the guy who's defending, right? And we've all able to remember how good the crosses are. What are the stats on this guy?
The stat Pascal Gross is extremely good. He's the reason why they're going to survive.
Okay.
And a second reason I'm going to add in here based on what he said, Matt Ryan, their goalkeeper. He's also been phenomenal for him.
He started off badly actually. I remember his manager Houghton criticizing him also in the initial.
Swasher backed him up though.
Yeah, but then he's been
An Australian goalkeeper.
after the first 10 games. Something. In fact, he was going to be dropped. I heard after 7-8 games. Something. I had him in my FPL team, and then he managed to make a comeback.
There's a thing which I think we can compare with what both of you said. When you brought in the comparison to Crystal Palace, right? So they're both attacking footballs. But then I think what Brighton do brilliantly is they mold their play around players.
How are we not talking about the Cumbrian Aguero when we're talking about? The company on Aguero is...
Okay, I haven't heard of that nickname.
No, that is what they're calling him now. It's... Dude, Murray. Glenn Murray.
No, I know you mean Murray, but I had no idea he
They're
was...
calling him...
You had to mean Murray because
Yeah,
so forward, but I was cross-checking.
They're calling him the Cumbrian Aguero.
Okay.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah. It's nice.
So they build it around that. Around players who are not necessarily fast, but then their play is built as such. Crystal Palace is very different. Crystal Palace, they have more pace.
They have more dribblers.
But they are equally exciting nevertheless.
Yeah. I'm just saying that it's a good contrast, which is why people like Pascal Gross, people like Glenn Murray are able to play well.
For that to work, you'd have to have really hard-working midfielders.
Right.
So people like Proper, right? I mean, they have to cover ground for people who are slower. People like Proper and Stephens, they haven't really been given due credit. They have to obviously have done a lot more.
Stephens is one of the better signings that he's made.
Yeah,
they're very
Even
unselfish.
Proper has been good.
Very unselfish.
Proper,
Their play is very unselfish.
And whenever Solly March has come on, he's also impressed me. And then when Izquierdo is obviously like has got a knack for a wonder goal.
Plus now his January window was also good. Locadia has been starting off pretty well so far.
So really Chris Hughton has impressed me. He was ex-Tottenham, so there is room for.
I mean, in a market where people buy Pogba for 90 million,
Pascal for 2 million, huh?
3 million.
3 million.
Yeah, 3 million.
We got something to learn.
Fair enough. So, after that, we have Watford. Right?
Watford,
they've been on a really bad run of form lately. Really poor run of form. They got smashed by Salah in the previous game. Right? That was just horrible. Horrible to watch. I mean, they did not see like the highlight reel of Salah. They just have to like go on YouTube and see what Salah does.
No, I think blaming them for not controlling Salah is a bit unfair.
Yeah.
Because I think Salah is now
up there. They keep letting him get back on his left foot and take a shot, man.
There's this wonderful picture.
You saw how quickly Britos, the way he like turned Britos around, the way he tripped and fell, right? Yeah. That was amateurish defending.
No, I saw the.
If you'd fall like that
I think Salah was unplayable.
But you see,
I think Salah was unplayable that particular day.
Correct. You obviously can't take credit away from Salah.
There are a lot of people out there giving due credit to Salah. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm saying it still requires a certain amount of defensive inefficiencies to come through to let in 4 goals from the same player. Right?
Agreed.
But the stats say Watford are completely safe. They rank third on this list. So, they're safe. I mean, everyone knows my relegation candidates.
So, how many points are they on right now, Watford?
They're on 36.
Okay, so apparently, so this whole 40-point myth is there, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
That no one knows where it came from, basically. Stats have indicated that over the last 22 years, that's when Premier League started having 20 clubs a season.
Okay.
36.6 or 37, if you round it off, is the magic number. It's not 40, 37. And if you cut it down to the last 5 years alone, then it is cut down to 35.
Oh.
So it's only 35 that you need.
The last
5 years, 35.
Is that why Watford are playing as badly as they are?
It could be.
They already feel that they're safe?
No.
Probably.
It happens psychologically because there's a whole Pulis thing, no? Whenever the Pulis teams reach 40, they all slow down. Remember, you guys have heard that. Correct. So that was all psychological, obviously.
I think this magic number, it cannot be juxtaposed to every season because it's a relative number to how the other teams perform.
Okay.
That's why stats in general have to be taken with a pinch of salt, technically.
True, but a little bit of trivia to back what Prem said. The last time we got relegated, we had 42 points. We went down with 42 points.
But this doesn't seem like a season of that, does it?
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, a lot of those teams are there in the mix. It probably require much
lesser. I think the magic number is way lesser actually this season.
35 is average for last 5 seasons.
Fair enough. That's because I think the top 6 have really pulled away in terms of how they just whack the other teams. So that's why.
Alright, so.
Are we done?
What about Bournemouth? You really think they're in the mix?
No,
they're still in the 36 thing.
So Eddie Howe is achieving targets?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He finished 9th last year. He's still similar, 10th or whatever now.
I think what Prem just said now, just before the Bournemouth thing was mentioned, I think that's a really big thing we have to look at about this season. That the top 6 have really pulled away from the others. Because again, what Guido said, the goal difference has never been this bad for the bottom half. They are all, from Everton to down, they have minus 10, 20. This is huge. I mean, it's as if the big teams are taking it out on the small teams whenever they can.
Yeah.
Especially
So
the
we're just
Probably
we were having that
City.
conversation.
Probably because City and Liverpool scoring the goals there.
No, not just that, right? It becomes also, so we're just having this conversation before you guys came in, and it's also about circumstantially, every time there's a bad result for one of these teams, these guys just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, right? And they seem to get a punishing, right, at times. So that's just...
Salah, by the way,
Correct.
Salah, what happened right after Salah?
So we've got most of our relegation
Yeah,
candidates.
just one thing about Bournemouth.
Yeah?
So just re-looked at the stats, and interestingly, they are the third worst defense.
Third worst defense.
Which is not surprising from Eddie Howe, I think. I wouldn't be surprised. Because Eddie Howe usually has a leaky
So
defense.
Stoke are the worst, then West Ham, and then Bournemouth.
Stoke, I'm really happy with Stoke being
How was
as bad as
Watford
they are.
not?
I mean, good riddance, man. I
They're
mean,
relatively ranked better.
Their fans are a disgrace.
Or maybe
Their
based
club
on the
is a
stats which
disgrace.
I used,
Yeah,
they
bro.
look better.
No, I'm looking more in goal difference because Watford have 55 goals conceded. That's third only to me.
Fair enough. So that's horrible. Anyhow, so who we got picked for relegation? Just our final nominees.
I think most of us, all three of us have
Yeah,
got
we three
West
have
Brom
agreed.
at
West
20,
Brom,
West Brom,
Stoke at
Stoke
19
and
and
Huddersfield.
Huddersfield at 18. Yeah.
Huddersfield at 18. Alright. So I'm really looking forward to Stoke being out because I'm done with that phrase. Can you do it at a cold night in Stoke? I'm done with that phrase. Even Stoke haven't been able to do it at a cold night. They've beaten 5 teams, right? They won 6 games overall. They've beaten 5 teams. They've beaten Southampton. They've beaten Swansea. They've beaten West Brom. They've beaten Huddersfield. And they've beaten Arsenal. They've beaten Arsenal as well. We still can't seem to do it at a cold night at Stoke. But yeah, that's about it, right? I mean, there's not much else they've brought really to the Premier League table. And they have, it's not really a bustling place of activity or culture, Stoke, right?
So yeah, fuck Stoke.
So yeah, fuck Stoke, yo.
They're definitely the best team going
Last
down.
week racism, this week this. Why?
I mean,
Next.
So, but I'm going to stick my head out, and Swansea are looking really bad. I don't think Carvajal is the magician.
I think have you differentiated the time under Carvajal and the time under
No, I didn't, but
who was the previous manager again? You tend to forget.
Paul Clement.
Paul Clement, yes.
He's going to have a little bit of bounce with new manager, but I think largely this is done. Swansea, Huddersfield, West Brom going down.
Alright then.
Wait,
But
Swansea,
his bounce came against good clubs. That's why I didn't promote.
So you basically just replaced Stoke and Swansea.
No. I've been telling Swansea from
No,
the
he's-
beginning.
No. It means compared to our list.
Yeah.
He has Huddersfield and West Brom. That's what you're asking. Yeah. So
Alright,
Let's
so I
wrap
guess
it up.
yeah, so if you seem to have a difference of opinion, if you want to hold us, accountable for whatever we did say today, later,
Well, I'm definitely going to
when
hold
the
this guy
tables
off
have finally shown their true colors, but if you'd like to hold us accountable, you may. Please do comment and please do subscribe to the channel as well. This is the LPG signing out. Alright.
It's time to put your money where your mouth is. It's time to get fierce. Check out playgaffer.com now.